go. Hello.
Woohoo.
Hello and welcome viewers. Welcome to the Website 101 podcast, our Lunch Bytes. We like to do a live YouTube on the first and third Wednesday of every month. I am Amanda. Hello. Sean and Mike, hi.
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 Happy to be here. And wow, spring has sprung. It's been warm the last few days.
I heard it was supposed to snow.
Oh, really?
Actually, I'm looking forward to, if it's true, I'm looking forward to it because we haven't had much of a winter.
It's March. I mean, yeah, it's supposed to. Anyway,
I've
as
been telling
typical
my kid he
Canadians,
can wear shoes all the time and not boots, but whatever.
Well,
I guess he's gonna
not all
get
the
the
time.
boots over.
as typical Canadians, talking about the weather.
Oh, that is such a Canadian thing to do, eh?
It is a.
I did that one on purpose.
You did it well.
Oh boy. So, what's new, everybody? How's work going?
It goes.
It goes.
Sean, you big fat liar. you just had in the Slack channel today. You've got drama.
All right.
Spill the tea. What's up?
So yeah, I was complaining yesterday that I started working with a new agency and they upgraded a project and moved from their old build process to something using Vite. And I hadn't used Vite before, but I've heard lots of good things about it. It's supposed to be really fast, right? Well, it took me 6 hours yesterday and then another 45 minutes this morning before it would finally work.
Oh no.
And part of it was Vite, and part of it was getting their project up and running with DDev. There was just, oh man, I almost punched my screen a few times. It was super
Hold on,
frustrating.
let's give some definitions first of all. DDev is this tool that we all use to run our websites locally on our own machines when we're developing.
Right, local hosting, and
Yes.
for the most part,
And
DDev
Vite-
is super easy.
Yeah.
I feel
Vite is
like once you get it set up, and once you learn a couple of like the
Yeah.
commands, DDev is great. We all use it.
It's the
all
best
happy with it.
Local hosting that I've used, and I switched to it before it even became a thing in Craft. It was this was
Yeah, it's
back when
recommended,
Craft
yeah.
was running their own local hosting service. Anyways, Mike, you had something else you wanted to define.
Yeah, tell us what Vite is exactly. It's sort of like what Browser Sync does or something. Is that what it is? Does it do more than that?
If you're not already familiar with Vite, you're probably familiar with something like Laravel Mix or Gulp or Grunt, these build processes. Vite is like that. I didn't actually write out the Vite config, but it's supposed to be really fast and a lot simpler. Supposed to be. But
Now, are you using Vite with Craft?
yes, and when you do it with Craft, there's a plugin that you're required to use, and
Right.
I think part of the issue was typically what I do when I use Laravel Mix on my own projects is outside of DDev, I just type in npm install, npm run dev, and it does its thing how I've configured it. But with Vite, you need to do this inside of DDev. So you need to do DDev npm install. So it does it inside the
Okay.
container. And same thing, DDev npm run serve, run dev, whatever you set up your script to be in package.js. And there was some trouble getting this all to work. And I was on a screen share with the owner of the agency. He used to do code and he was helping me troubleshoot, and finally figured out how to get it to work by taking a look at another project that's available on GitHub for Craft and Vite. And the way they had their package JSON script setup was a little bit different. So I copied theirs in and it worked for me. So I think there might be an issue here because I'm on Windows and their entire team is on Mac, and there might be a small difference, and then this other one worked. So yeah, it was hours and hours of work and frustration and constantly rebooting the server and my computer. And
Okay.
anyways, I'm happy.
Now
Now that
that
it's
you
working.
have it, now that it is working, because I've used DDev a lot in craft, and I've used DDev for non-craft projects, and I've also used NPM, for React apps and Seneca marking and all of these other things. I know that it's early days for you using Vite, but are you finding any benefit to using this additional build process step? Like, it's not just the local environment, but it's like Vite doing things to be able to make the local environment work. Like, so far, have you seen any benefit? Are you going to start using it on your personal projects?
I don't see anything yet. I don't see anything really different between this and Laravel Mix. And honestly, I've only been using it for an hour. I just got this fixed this morning. So
yeah,
and I didn't do any configuration. I haven't customized it the way I've customized Mix. So I don't know if it's better yet. I think I just need to put more time into it.
So even what would you do with Laravel Mix before? Like what is DDev not giving you that you're using Laravel Mix to perform?
It's the build process where it concatenates your JavaScript and does your ES module stuff, and then it does all your Tailwind, or if you're using Sass, it'll compile your Sass. It does things like
it'll compress images and put them in the public folder.
Compress images, and then it also does the thing where it's you want your above the fold thing. I forgot what that's called.
Critical CSS.
Critical CSS, and you can add a whole bunch more, but that's what I've got set up.
I wonder if I should start using it too.
I've got mine is based on my whole thing is based on Sean's original boilerplate, so it's basically the same code as him. But I've stripped out a lot of it. I don't do the ES6 stuff or whatever. I don't do critical CSS. These days, I rarely do the images in the source and get them compressed, and I just kind of put everything in the public folder when I make the images anyway, but I do use it for concatenating a bunch of JS files or a bunch of different. If you have like a CSS file for a swiper library or something, you can blend it together with your own CSS and have only one CSS file. I do use it for that, and I do use it for Tailwind, of course. So it's pretty stripped down for me, but and the browser sync to make the browser.
I probably want to spend a little bit of time in cleaning it up, because there's some stuff that I don't do as often as I used to, and it'd just be nice to keep it simpler, because the more simple it is, the less likely it is to break.
Well, and that's always the problem. It's like you add this additional layer to make your life easier, but then it's like you start using it for for this and for that and for the other thing, and then it becomes like a little bit bloated, and then do you really need it? And that's always the balance that I'm trying to get.
Modern dev has really become overly complicated. In
It
some
can
ways,
be, yeah.
I miss the days of cowboy coding on the server. At the same time, I don't miss the risk of completely screwing up a client site.
Yeah. So I finally I'm on my new laptop.
Yay!
I'm using it all the time now. Hooray! Finally. But I still have a couple of projects that I inherited from someone else. So they set it up, and it's like using Docker, and it's using other stuff, and it's using make files to like run all of the things with Docker and whatever. And for the life of me, I cannot get it to run. I cannot get it to run on the new machine. Like, it's giving me like weird craft errors. So it's like, fuck it.
Just that project.
It's like I've like copied over all of like the .env stuff, and I've copied over the database, and I thought I set it up the same way, and it's given me, I don't know if it's like, are IP addresses different for machines? No, it would be based on internet. I don't know there's like broken images that it's like using, if I'm like calling images from AWS, none of them are working. Weird craft errors about like a craft ID code, and it's like it's the same env file. Why isn't it working? And so finally I was just like, I cannot spend any more time on this. I am just going to keep my old tablet around. It's sitting right there, and whenever I need to work on that project, I guess I'll pull it out.
Yeah,
and this project is in DDev also, because
it's not DDev, no. But I'm using the WSL. I'm using it's the same WSL. It's the same Docker. It's the same Docker desktop.
So
it's the
weird.
same make file. It's the same. Yeah, and I don't know, man. And because
Yeah,
because I
that is
didn't
really, really weird.
because I didn't set it up in the first place, I'm not super on top of how Docker works and the make files and like I said, somebody else made it and they told me these commands to type. So
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned, it works or it doesn't. And yeah,
Well, it's Schrödinger site. It works on on one laptop and not the other.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Oh boy, sounds like we're getting a lot of problems with local development these days.
Yeah. By
So
the way,
Mike,
friends,
how are
Kevin,
you doing for local dev?
everybody, Kevin's
So far,
here.
so
Kevin's
good.
joined us. Everyone say
Oh,
hi
hi,
to Kevin.
Kevin.
Oh, Kevin appeared on a
Kevin.
recent episode that will be coming out very soon. We interviewed
Yes, we
Kevin.
recorded it just a couple days ago.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
scheduled to come out on Tuesday, assuming we can get it edited and show notes done before then. But the plan is to get
Yeah.
it done on Tuesday.
No pressure.
I
pressure,
think I
Mike.
could do it. I'm going to try. Yeah. Hey, speaking of our podcast, that thing we do as well as these videos,
Yes.
I want to talk about reviews. We have one review for our podcast, and you guys forgot about this, but we've talked about it before. I want to share this because it's kind of funny. Let me just share my screen real quick here. So this is a review that we found on Apple Podcast Reviews, whatever that's called.
How long ago?
Well, the review was a year ago. You can see that, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, we talked about this.
Yeah. So as we can see here, it's the
Developers
rate
Gone
from Sherry in
Grumpy.
Toronto. Developers Gone Grumpy is the title of this review, and it says, if you want to know what your web developer really thinks about your website or working with you, this is the Fly on the Wall podcast. Ironically, all three admit that their own website needs an overhaul, question mark, exclamation mark. Now,
This makes me laugh. Actually, get off my server or lawn.
well, the truth is we do, at least I complain all the time. I'm a
complain
very
all the time.
pessimistic person. So this person, Sherry, is obviously saying we talk about our clients negatively too much. I don't think we ever name clients. That's for sure. We never say,
Never,
"Oh, I work with
never.
so-and-so."
No.
Yeah.
And also, I
But
think that
I
we're
feel like-
generally pretty careful about, like, most of the stories I come up with that are like the worst of the stories. They're not current clients.
Yes, it's always
Like
something
these are
that
these
I
are like
happen to be once,
stories like from a decade ago. You know, it's like
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's right, and I feel like
the
when
kind
we-
of stories that we tell are also things that are generic and common. It's like even cross industry. I hear similar. Like I'd follow a lot of photography stuff on Reddit, and I'm not a professional, but I see the professionals posting, and the complaints they make about their clients are the same complaints we make about our clients.
Yeah, and I feel like when we bring up a story about something negative that happened, it's almost meant to be like a cautionary tale, because we always pair it with, here's something you should look out for, or here's how you should do things the right way
Yeah.
and avoid
Or-
this situation, you know.
Or just for entertainment's sake.
Well,
Yeah,
Sometimes.
you know, the
sometimes,
thing
sure.
is, I feel that sometimes we also talk about bad developers, because there are bad developers who treat their clients poorly, and that's part of how we get a rescue site, because maybe the developer did something wrong and the client's looking for a new developer to help them out.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we provide these cautions as well as, hey, if you are the freelancer or agency in question, don't do this to your clients because you're going to lose them.
yeah.
I mean, or do
I-
them and send them my
I
way.
also-
I mean,
Yeah. I also think sometimes that it helps like to help fight imposter syndrome. If you know other people who are going through the same things you are, or who, you know, oh, I've experienced
Yeah.
that myself, and oh, they've been doing it for a long time and they're still going through it. Names have been changed to protect the innocent and avoid antagonizing the guilty, is what
There you go.
Bipedal Mammal has commented.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think but since we got this review, this was a year ago, of course, but I really think we should do an episode where we say a bunch of positive stuff that have happened relating to client work. like exceptionally positive things. I bet Amanda, it looks like you don't think we can come up with enough stories.
Oh, I mean, I've got stuff that I can talk about that clients surprised me with. Like I received some gifts in the mail from a client. You know, like that was amazing.
Yeah, no, I think it would be a cool episode because you're right, we do bag a lot on the negative. So yeah, maybe we'll come up with a whole episode sharing positive stories.
I'm going to try to come up with some ways we can spin things and say, hey, this industry is awesome and this is why, rather than complaining about our local hosting and our local development,
our local development environment.
Yeah.
In the meantime, if it weren't for those darn kids, get off my lawn.
Well, and the other side of this, of course, is we had an episode recently where we were talking about project management tools. And at one point, Sean, you mentioned one that you really don't like.
The worst.
And I bleeped the name of it, right? I so that we're not trash talking this particular thing. And
we didn't want to name
out.
and shame. Yeah.
Yeah, and we had a listener reach out and say, why did you guys bleep that? I wanted to know. Presumably they wanted to know what to avoid. I mean, there's some value in showing people, look, this is something that bit us before, and maybe, that kind of thing.
I think that there's a big difference between caution, here's something that bit us before, versus just the absolute rage that was radiating off of Sean as he was talking about
I was definitely over the top on that one, and I'm really happy that Mike did beep it out, like despite the fact that I would still strongly recommend against using that service. It was the right move to beep it out, despite our craft Discord person, I don't want to name this person either, telling me, I want to know who it was. Why did you hide it?
If you want to know who it is, email Sean directly and maybe he'll tell you privately.
You know what? I'm just going to put Sean's phone number up right here, and you can just send him a WhatsApp. Sure. It's fine.
Right.
For a good time, call Sean.
I wouldn't go that far. Like medium.
And speaking of reviews, I will say that on Spotify, we have a 4.9 star review. Like, not a review. I mean, our
like just the
rating.
overall?
The average rating is 4.9 out of 5, which is pretty darn awesome.
Of how many people voted?
15.
Okay.
I mean,
that's
not
still that's still pretty good.
Yeah.
It takes a lot for people to go out of their way and actually. I've never reviewed a podcast, I don't think. So, and I listen to podcasts all the time.
I haven't reviewed a podcast either. So, kudos to people who do it. I mean,
thank you.
Positive and negative feedback will help us do better.
Continue and do better. Here's a question that has just come into my mind. Speaking of podcast reviews, I don't review podcasts. I don't leave comments on YouTube videos. I don't, even recently I noticed that I don't leave comments on like stores, on the Google reviews or whatever. When there was Fourspace or whatever it was, Foursquare, whatever it was called, I never checked into places. Like super back in the day, I would check in on Facebook, but I definitely would not do that anymore now. And I wonder if some of that's just because I couldn't be bothered, but also because of like safety precautions and reasons.
Yeah,
like, do I really need to be that public?
I also rarely do anything like that. For me to leave a review of, say, a restaurant or something, the experience would have to be like 100 out of 10 or 0 out of 10. Like,
right.
It'd have to be the absolute best experience I ever had in my entire life, or one of the worst. And I've never really, I've had bad experiences, and I've never left a restaurant review. One thing I do is I go on IMDb and I rate TV shows and movies all the time.
Really?
I just star them. I don't write reviews. I just star them.
Well, but even starring them, it's like somebody could still go online and be like, oh, Sean, and just like basically follow what you're doing and what you're watching. Like, I wasn't even talking like a written review. I'm just talking like star reviews, which is weird because like when I go on Uber Eats, I will see what other people have rated and The same with picking a vacation at an all-inclusive resort or a hotel. You want to see what other people have. I love reading the awful reviews of hotels and resorts because some people are so
Yeah.
entitled. It's hilarious. But it's like, that if there's like a good number of half decent starred reviews, then it must be a good location or a good product. But I never contribute to that.
I
agree.
The thing with reviews, whether it's vacation reviews or restaurant reviews, you got to take it with a grain of salt because there are a lot of paid reviewers that are paid to review different places. So, I mean, if it's something that's got like
Or
a really
products
high
on
rating,
Amazon.
yeah, like I don't trust the product reviews on Amazon. I kind of trust the negative ones and read it and kind of like try and infer if it's legitimately negative. But yeah, especially for cheap products, anything that's under $25, if it's got like 5 stars, I don't know. I think it's just a bot farm that's reviewing it or something.
If there's like 25,000 5-star reviews, then yes, I agree.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I heard a podcast the other day interviewing that guy on YouTube who lets scammers. There's a bunch of people like this, but there's one main guy people know. He lets scammers phone him, and he's a bit of a hacker, and he sort of like scams them in return. And anyway, it was
I watched
funny
a couple of
to
videos. I don't know if it's the same guy, but this is a while back. I watched a couple of them, and I was like, yeah, this is fun. I wish I had the time and inclination to do it, but it's like, let him do it.
That's what he said. He said, if you want to waste your own time, go ahead and do this. I encourage everyone to do it, but it does take a lot of. That's all he does full time now. He used to be a IT security guy, and now he just scams scammers, sort of.
Well, I've even heard some people say that they will stay on the phone and just talk with them, with the scammer, and not even necessarily give them any information. Definitely not that technically advanced that he could hack into their network and override the cameras in the office so they can show everybody around the world what's going on. But the longer you have the scammer on the phone with you, the less time they have to like call grandparents.
Yeah, that's
Which I feel is very noble.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it, but good for the people who do.
Yeah, like I said, if I wish I had the time to do that because I think it's a great thing to do, but I don't know. How does anyone find the time to sit there and scam the scammer? I mean, go for it.
Yeah, you have to be independently wealthy, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
I was worried yesterday. So yesterday, Facebook and all of its properties were offline for a while.
Heard.
I was worried for a second that if someone had managed to, I don't know to this day what happened, but if they spoofed the login page and the millions of people were typing in their email address and passwords, then they would just harvest all these people's logins.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's not what happened, but I don't know. I haven't heard anything about what it is.
Yeah.
Something
I
to
just
say?
thought of a really great story that kind of reminded me a little bit of that, but it was like somebody told me this story that somebody told them, and I don't really have like sort of the chain of command of approval.
I see. Right.
Sharing something like that. So
God knows we talk shit about people all the time, so we probably
we do, but it's
as we've
I
just
don't know.
established, as Sherry pointed out to us in that review.
Yeah. I just want
Grumpy old developers. I love that title.
Gone.
I don't know.
Was it Developers Gone Grumpy? That's pretty
Yes.
funny.
I don't know, it still makes me laugh.
So, should we wrap it up? Are we good, or what do you think?
I think this is a wrap for Lunch Bites.
I think it's good.
Yeah.
We're like 5
Thank you,
minutes
viewers.
early.
Thank you for watching and listening, and check out the next episode with Kevin Nicholson dropping next week.
Yes,
That's right.
that you can find on all of the podcast platforms. Please like and subscribe and comment on the videos. Hey, good news, everyone. It took an eternity, but I got through all of the transcriptions for a podcast episode, and I think I'm ready to slice it up and put it on the YouTubes and other social media platforms. I guess that's what I'm curious about. Do any of our listeners, any of our viewers, like seeing those like short form clips on other platforms?
Yeah,
it'd be
everybody
good to know
says you
that.
need. it's a good way to promote and blah blah blah. But yeah, it's a good question.
Yeah,
Do people
I'm
actually
curious.
like it? What's going
Is
on?
it worth my
let us
effort?
know.
Is what I'm trying to get to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
So
find
reach
out.
Website 101podcast.com.
Awesome.
Contact us through there.
Excellent. Bye, everybody.
Bye.